You know that feeling when you walk into a room and it just feels different? Like there are these unwritten rules, but somehow everyone just gets them? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly that. We're looking at a social system so brilliantly designed that it just looks like a casual get-together. Let's dive into the architecture of this invisible influence. So, right off the bat, forget the word party. That's not what this is. What we're actually digging into here is a complex, almost living system. It's designed to quietly shape how people act and reward a certain way of thinking. And it does all of this without a single sign on the wall, not one written rule. This, right here, is what invisible influence looks like. Okay, so how do you even build something like this? Well, it all starts with setting the stage. The crazy part is, the system starts to influence you way before you even walk through the door.
And here's the first big move. The event is held in a private mansion, not some rented-out hotel ballroom. Right away, that changes everything. It's not a venue, it's an instrument. The authority is just there. The exclusivity doesn't feel like some cheap marketing trick. It feels real, like you've been invited into a private world that has its own way of doing things.
And it's not just the location, it's the language. Look at this. You won't see words like VIP rules or buy tickets. Instead, you get phrases like host discretion or capacity. See, that's the language of a private home, not a business. It totally reframes the whole experience. You're not a customer getting denied something. You're a guest respecting the natural flow of the house. It's a super subtle shift, but wow, is it powerful. All right, so the stage is set. You've been primed. But what happens once you're actually inside? Well, this is where the system gets really interesting. A whole new set of tools kicks in to guide what you do, moment by moment, gently nudging everyone toward a certain way of behaving. And at the absolute heart of this whole thing is one core belief, that real wealth, real momentum, it all moves through trusted groups, not lone wolves. But here's the brilliant part. They never tell you this. It's not on a banner, it's not in an email. The entire night is engineered so that you don't just hear this idea, you feel it. You experience it as an undeniable truth. So how do they make you feel it? With these things called flow markers. Now, you might look at them and just see a wristband, right? But these have absolutely nothing to do with being a VIP. Nope. Their real job is to manage the flow of people, to manage the group dynamics, and to turn that core belief into something you can literally see and feel happening all around you. Let's break down how this actually works. If you show up by yourself, your wristband, your flow marker, creates a little bit of friction. Nothing awful, you're not shamed or anything, but things are just a bit harder. But if you arrive with a group that's on the same page, your band makes everything smoother. Doors open, access is easier. And what's the result? People naturally start teaming up, forming their own groups just to make their night better. And just like that, they're proving the system's core belief without a single instruction. And here's another really clever piece of psychology. If you're on your own, you're never actually told no. Nobody's going to stand in your way and reject you, because that just makes people defensive. Instead, certain opportunities, certain rooms, they're just not part of your reality. They're invisible to you. So you don't feel denied. You just feel a sense of mystery. It makes you curious about what you're missing instead of angry about what you were denied. Okay, so we've got the environment and we've got the mechanics of how people are guided. But a system isn't enough. How do you turn all this structure into a compelling story? You know, the kind of narrative people tell their friends about for weeks. Well, this is where the mythology begins. So here's the puzzle. How do you create a feeling of real scarcity and exclusivity without ever advertising it? The answer is you create a moment, a single perfectly timed event. It's an upgrade that you can't buy, you can't ask for it. You just have to be in the right place with the right group when it all goes down. They call it the alignment window. And it's not some big announcement, there's no MC on a microphone, it's just a shift. You can feel the energy in the room change. Hosts start moving quietly, approaching specific groups. Wristbands get swapped out really fast, no big deal. And this deliberate vagueness is key. It gets everyone whispering, asking each other, hey, did you see that? What's going on? They're building a narrative together instead of just asking a staff member for a boring explanation. And if someone does manage to ask a host what's happening, the answer is always the same and it's always just a little vague. It's about alignment and capacity. The thing is, it's true. It's about who you're with and how much space there is. You can't really argue with it. It just deepens the mystery. This is the masterstroke. That upgrade, that quiet moment, is tied to the reveal of a whole new space, the inner room. But you'll never hear it called the VIP room, ever. Its power, its exclusivity, comes entirely from the shared experience of getting access. It feels like you earned it, like you figured something out, not like you just paid for it.
And once you're inside that room, the vibe is totally different. The energy is quieter, the pace is slower, there's no agenda, no one giving a speech or trying to sell you something. The room itself sends a powerful message. The real action, the real value, it doesn't happen in a loud, programmed event. It happens in quiet conversations, built on trust and just being near the right people.
So you step back and you look at all of this, the careful language, the flow markers, the secret room. After all that intricate design, what is the actual product here? What are people really walking away with? This is what's so brilliant about it. The system never makes any explicit promises. It never says, come here and you'll get rich. It doesn't need to. It just gives you a live demonstration. You watch with your own eyes as attention, energy, and access all shift and reorganize around the groups that are in sync. The implication of what you're seeing does all the heavy lifting. And that is the real product. You don't leave with a handful of business cards and a summary of a boring networking event. You leave with a story, a personal one. You won't believe what happened. The whole vibe of the party shifted, and then suddenly our group was being led into this room I didn't even know existed. That's the story people tell. That's what has value. And it's way more powerful than any sales pitch. So in the end, this thing stops being just an event. It becomes a living, breathing demonstration of a single, powerful concept that working together, being aligned as a group, will always quietly outperform going it alone. You don't just get told this idea, you actually live through it for a few hours. And that's a lesson that really, really sticks. What we've looked at here is an incredible example of hidden social architecture. It's all about designing the environment to get a desired outcome. And that really just leaves one big question for you, right? Now that you know how to spot this stuff, what invisible systems, what unseen architectures are quietly shaping the world around you?